Hey guys, welcome to another Patreon exclusive episode of the Litter Box. Obviously, before we start, I want to say one thing, and that's mostly that I want to say thank you to everybody who's shown their support over the last week. Obviously, this has been a really trying week for the channel, for me, for all of us personally. When we said that the Gamescast was going on break, I think we expected a little bit of a pushback, but I don't think we expected the amount of pushback that we got. So thank you to everyone who believes in what we're doing and has faith that we're doing the right thing for the channel. And if you don't have faith that we're doing the right thing for the channel, then I hope you stick around long enough to see what's going to happen. I just came back from a meeting with Michelle and Jeremy. We talked for like an hour and a half. We banged out some details and really made some tough decisions, and I think they're all good decisions and will all benefit the channel in the long run. And hopefully just create a better product. That's all we ever really want, right? We want everything to be as awesome as it can be. So thank you for, again, sticking with us during this kind of trying time. So something like last week was, a pretty serious topic of conversation, but then we have this week, and leading up to E3, which is so close. And especially with Sony revealing that there's going to be reveals leading up to their press conference, PSVR related for 3 of them. Jesus, I mean, it's such an exciting time. And before that, obviously, we got this, which I don't know if you can see on camera or not, but that is the supposed leaked run of show for the Sony press conference, the Sony E3 2018 PlayStation press conference. Now, the thing with this is that it could totally be fake. It could totally be real. And there's no one outside of Sony right now that could tell us if this is legit or total bullshit. And we won't know until the show starts, when we get through the first couple of games, go, it's John Codera, and he's telling us about this. It's right in line. We'll know pretty quickly if it's real or not. Or we'll know right away if it's just total garbage. But what I love about E3 is that it reminds me of being a kid, right? It's the Super Bowl of video games. It gives us a reason to be excited about video games, and especially about, these things that we've been speculating about forever. We've been talking about the Resident Evil 2 remake. We've been talking about maybe BioShock VR. How cool would these things be if they were real? And I love, quote unquote, leaked documents like this, because it just fuels that speculation and fun and excitement. Is it real? Probably not. But I thought it would be fun to go through this list one by one and see if they make sense, and kind of just my thoughts about each one and their placement on the list. That's pretty much it. I just love this. This is my favorite time of the year. I love being excited about video games, and of course, PlayStation VR specifically. But let's go through the whole list. Why not? The first one is Ghost of Tsushima. Now, immediately there's a problem here, right? Because the game isn't called Ghosts of Tsushima. It's not pluralized. If I remember correctly, it's Ghost of Tsushima. Now, this is Sucker Punch's game, and we've been waiting to see what this game's all about for a while. And this is saying it's a demo, not just a trailer. So probably somebody standing on stage with a DualShock 4 playing the first few minutes of the game. And I don't think we've seen actual gameplay of this yet. And if we haven't, then this could be a super exciting way to start the show, especially since Sony has sort of they've sort of shown their cards, right? Maybe they've shown too many of their cards too early. Spider-Man's coming, but we've seen quite a bit of gameplay of that, and it's man, it's been such a long time coming. We've been seeing gameplay for so long, I'm already kind of losing excitement. Days Gone is another one that they've just been showing off way too much of, way too often, and I'm like, just go away, and let's forget about you until it's time, right? So I think Ghost of Tsushima would be one of those where it's okay, we don't know too much about this, but seeing a live gameplay demonstration could be a pretty amazing way to start a show, especially when it's one of those games we know very little about. It could be really exciting. And I guess the same could kind of go for the second one, Medieval, right? Medieval, I don't think was a terribly good game back on the PlayStation 1, and I think Even the PSP port, that wasn't so hot. And I don't know if this was a game that people were clamoring to come back. But again, this could be another, like, to follow up Ghost of Tsushima with Medieval. It's sort of like Sony saying, yeah, you know about a lot of the stuff we have coming, but here's a couple things that like you don't know much about. And like, so let's start this press conference off with a bang. And so I think that would be kind of cool. And then the next one, this one, I have to say, PlayStation Party with PSVR mode. Now, this sounds super dumb, right? But this is not without precedence. This isn't even close to without precedence. This is the one thing on the entire list that makes me think this has to be real. Because what person out there in the land of the internet would come up with PlayStation Party as the number 3 game that Sony's going to talk about during an E3 2018 press conference? PlayStation Party? Like I said, not without precedence. Remember Wonderbook? That put a screeching halt to one of Sony's press conference, in an actual really good press conference, but like right there near the beginning, just was a horrible thing to like interject, and just slowed the pace of the entire thing down, slowed the excitement down. And that was Wonderbook. And then there were games, I think Sony has always wanted their own party game, you know, like something in the vein of Mario Party, or something in the vein of Smash Brothers. They've always tried to create these games like, God, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, right? Or when the Move launched, it launched with a game called Start the Party, and there's actually 2 of those. Now Start the Party was a lot of fun, right? Embarrassingly so. But you could only play one player at a time, and half the fun was supposed to be watching your friends get up there in front of the camera with your Move controller, which turned into different things, like different ridiculous items, and you had to play these mini games, and the fun was watching your friend on the screen in augmented reality do these silly things. But I think this game would be so much more fun if PlayStation Party was a VR game and you were there in VR and you could actually like see all of your friends in kind of like this augmented reality type thing. I'm very curious to see if this is real or not, but based on Sony's history with party games, wouldn't surprise me even in the slightest. I think this is spot on, and I think as the 3rd game on the list, it's in the exact right place. It's something that like classic Sony would have done, and I'm sure there's a lot of classic Sony people still left making decisions there. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. Next up, Spyro, the Reignited Trilogy. I think this is exactly. This is in the right place, the right time. It's in the little mini family section with PlayStation Party. Just reminding people that PlayStation's not just about the hardcore gamers; it's also for families and stuff like that. And I feel like that, you know, when you're announcing all these family-friendly games, it also might be the right time to announce that there's a price drop coming, right? To be like, hey, it's more affordable than ever to get another PlayStation in your house for your family, right? So you could probably follow up PlayStation Party and Spyro with a price drop, saying the OG or Slim PS4 is now going to be $199, and then the Pro is going to be $299. It's probably the right time for that. I would say so. And the fact that no media outlets are talking about this, they probably already know. That's my speculation. Price drop. In Spyro's got a lot of goodwill. There's a lot of people who their first games were Spyro the Dragon, and so I think this is something that a lot of people slightly younger than me will be really excited for. Although I never played these games, I played a little bit of the first one. I would love to play these again, not again, for the first time, remastered. Next, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is interesting because it says it has a PlayStation VR mode. I can't imagine Spider-Man actually having a PlayStation VR mode. I can imagine Spider-Man having PlayStation VR minigames. I can't imagine the entire game being played in VR. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if that's possible with the specs or how much processing power the actual game is using. No idea. But it just seems unlikely. And for this to be the first time they talk about it, I just don't know. I think some Spider-Man mini games might be possible in the vein of the horrible Homecoming free demo thing. But other than that, this seems like kind of bullshit. I hope I'm wrong, right? If the whole game's in VR, phenomenal, right? I'd love a third-person platformer, especially with the web slinging. It may be possibly... is there even a possibility they could do this in first person? I mean, Windlands did it, right? Maybe. Totally maybe. Just unlikely. Especially with Sony's especially since Sony is so scared of motion sickness. I know it's not developed by Sony, but I think it's being published by Sony, right? Shenmue 3 makes perfect sense. Shenmue 3, the Kickstarter, that was a couple years ago, I think, on Sony's stage. They kicked off the Kickstarter. So it makes sense for Shenmue 3 to have a home on Sony's stage. The next one's huge, of course. Resident Evil 2 Remake with PlayStation VR mode. Unbelievable. Right? This is something that we've been speculating on for quite a while. We've been saying this is a great idea. It would obviously use the Resident Evil 7 engine, and Capcom has already created that super simple way to port games from that engine into VR. So this makes total sense, but also... just because it makes total sense doesn't mean that it's happening. In fact, it's almost too good to be true in my book because, well, if they're timing the Resident Evil 2 remake to come out to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of Resident Evil 2, then they're already running late, right? Because Resident Evil 2 came out in early 1998. Early, I think. January, February, one of those months. And obviously we've passed that. We've passed the official 20-year anniversary. So I would hope to think that if this game's been in development for as long as we think it has, that it's coming out this year. And that would actually be contained in that 20-year anniversary cycle. I don't know. It's, like I said, almost too good to be true. If it's real, sign me up. It would be the best, biggest, craziest. I don't think there's anything else they could announce. Nope, probably not. Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and being able to play it in PlayStation VR, even better. Devil May Cry 5, this has been rumored forever. I mean, I don't think anybody thought we were going to see a DMC 2. By Ninja Theory? Did I get that developer right? It would be nice to see a return to form. I actually like Devil May Cry 4. I don't know how much of it I got through, but I like the way that game felt far more than I like DMC. So I don't know. That's just pure speculation, and I don't have much more to say about it. I'm not the biggest Devil May Cry fan. I like Devil May Cry, but I liked Devil May Cry 1 a lot, not 2. And 3, maybe I'm just bad at games. It's probably pretty clear that I'm bad at video games, but Devil May Cry 3 was just really difficult, or it was for me. I never made it very far at all, and I never mastered the combo systems and all that stuff. So maybe if I spent more time learning the mechanics of that game, I would have better luck playing it. But historically, I've gone back to that game a few times and never made it very far, so which is probably why I don't like it very much. And then Devil May Cry 4 felt a lot like Devil May Cry 1, so I think that's why I liked it. I don't know. We'll see. So let's hope 5 is real, because I know a lot of people, they want that. And it's highly likely that it's real. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I don't know. I just don't know. Ever since Square took the remake out of the hands of CyberConnect, and if you guys know CyberConnect, they made the Dot Hack series back in the day and not a lot else. I don't think whatever new development team has their hands on it, I don't think they've had enough time to either rework or restart the work on Final Fantasy VII Remake for it to have time to show off something substantial. It's a demo. It's not just a trailer, so they can't just piece shit together. This has to be a vertical slice of a specific section of the game. This seems really unlikely to me, but possible. Also, Square has their own show. And since Square has their own press conference, why wouldn't it be there instead of here? I don't know. It would be cool. It would be cool, but I think it's unlikely. I think it's going to be at least another year before we see something from them. And then Kingdom Hearts 3, it would make sense to follow up Final Fantasy VII with a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, because this is Square's little part of the show. You probably have somebody from Square come out and introduce both of these games. in being a trailer, it's just kind of like, if Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be, obviously it will be, on Square's stage, then this is, just having a little trailer is no big deal. And kind of sounds right for the PlayStation stage, especially if the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be there. It sounds right in context, but if you were going to say, Brian, do you think these games are going to be on Sony's stage? I would say probably not. But if one's going to be there, then the other one is too, right? And then the strangest thing on the entire list, maybe not the strangest, but the most unexpected maybe, is BioShock Resurgence, PlayStation VR mode. Again, if you watched the Why We Love PSVR episode where Des and I did our E3 predictions, this one, to me, makes perfect sense, right? It doesn't seem... Irrational Games is such a small team now. Ghost Story Games, or whatever they're called. It's such a small team. They went from the giant AAA developer to like 19 people or something. And so if they wanted to make a game of any consequence and maybe like, reinvigorate the BioShock name, they couldn't make another AAA BioShock game. Like, that's not something they have the ability to do with that small of a team. But knowing how few people it took to bring Wipeout Omega to PlayStation VR, and how long it took them, I think 19 people could totally bring BioShock into VR, The thing is, though, if it said PSVR exclusive, that would make sense to me, right? Because we already got the BioShock HD remaster, whatever the hell it was, for PS4, which... So what would Resurgence be? Is it a new BioShock game? That doesn't make sense to me. Unless it's not being made by Irrational, but Irrational, or at least 2K, still hold the rights. So this one's a big mystery. To me, if this was a PSVR exclusive version of the original BioShock, that would be the thing that makes most sense to me. Other than that, I'm totally at a loss. I think it's possible. I think it's highly likely, actually. Bloodborne 2? Sure. There's no way in hell there's going to be any VR component to Bloodborne 2. From Software, it doesn't have any VR history from what I can tell with all the Souls games, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, all of those. Bloodborne 1, they haven't really dabbled into VR. And I think Bloodborne 2 is going to sell no matter what. And plus we saw the little teaser, which we all thought or think is Bloodborne related. It was definitely from Software. So what else could it be? Right? So that makes perfect sense. But Bloodborne 2 seems like it's in a really strange place on this list. Because Bloodborne 2, in my book, would close the show. That would be a showstopper. And it's one of those, John Cudera goes, just one more thing before we go. The lights fall. You see the twisting, the whatever, the blood-soaked fucking rope, or whatever the hell was in that teaser. And then it zooms out, Bloodborne 2, bam, nice little trailer, and teaser. It even says, no, what does it say? Oh, it says trailer here. I don't know. It just seems like it's in the wrong place. This would be too big of an announcement and too big of something that we'd all be excited for to just kind of put in the middle, near the end of the show. It's just too big, right? And then you follow it up with Death Stranding. Oh man, it's like, see, this is just like hit after hit after hit after hit. Like I said, this list is almost too good to be true. I don't know how I feel about this. Death Stranding, I wish would go away, right? The recent rumors make it sound like it's closer than we all thought it was. It's been in development for longer than we thought it was, which doesn't make any sense. We know when Kojima Productions was created, and it wasn't that long ago, So I don't know. I feel like Death Stranding needs to go away and come back when it's ready. I feel like we see Death Stranding all the time. We still don't know what kind of game it is, but this is going to be a demo, according to this list, which, I mean, this could definitely generate some new hype for the game, because a demo, instead of a super long, convoluted fucking Kojima trailer, could actually give us more information and show us what kind of game this is. So, is it possible? Yes. Do I think it's going to be there? Yes. Should it be a demo if it's there? It better be. no more of these trailers, no more of these teasers. We want to see what kind of game this is. The Last of Us Part 2 needs to go away. The Last of Us Part 2, this is saying demo. We haven't seen an actual demo of Last of Us 2 yet. I don't want to see a demo of Last of Us 2 until like a month before it comes out. We know what kind of game Last of Us 2 is going to be. We all played Last of Us 1. It's super exciting that this game's coming, but we know it's coming. And just don't beat us over the head with it. We are excited about this game. We don't need to see any more until it's ready. That said, is it going to be there? Probably. Next up, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, like PUBG on PlayStation 4. This would be a fucking mind-boggling announcement. Not mind-boggling, fucking, it would be an amazing announcement. It would be huge. I don't think Sony cares that much. Like, maybe they do. Maybe they threw PUBG some money, and we're like, you need to bring it over here too. But I don't know. I have no idea. Those guys probably have more money than they can possibly even imagine at this point. So maybe it's like no big deal to bring it to PS4. And they're like, shit, we'll make some more money. For some reason, I just don't see it happening. Although, if it did happen, it would be an amazing way to close out the show. Not that this closes out the show at all, because they close out the show with SOCOM Coalition. A teaser of SOCOM Coalition. Now, I think I have a hard time caring about SOCOM not as a PSVR game. It doesn't say anything about PSVR here. So I'm sure there's some diehard, like hardcore SOCOM players out there that this would be an amazing announcement for, right? That would be super excited about this. I just don't care. I just don't care about this game. I know people want SOCOM to come back, but I think the people we hear from that want it to come back are hanging out in the PSVR subreddit, saying, I want this game played with an aim controller in VR. So that's it. This is quite the fantastical list of a possible E3 run of show. I don't know how likely this is. I think I went through and even the ones I doubted, I still there was room for believability. I'm just excited for the show. And no matter what happens, it's going to be a great show. We've got 3 PlayStation VR games being announced before their E3 press conference even rolls around. So like, it's not just going to be an amazing press conference. It's going to be an amazing lead up to the press conference. It's such an awesome week, guys. I'm so excited to be able to cover it. For Without Parole, and just sit tight, man. I guess like there's nothing else to say except I actually have a strange amount of faith in Sony to deliver the goods this year. Last year was unbelievable with the announcement of Skyrim and Super High. It's just what a crazy year that was. And I think this year is going to be even crazier. I have a lot of high hopes, and I think one of the thing people have mentioned, there's no Fallout 3 on this list, and there's no Dreams on this list. Well, I don't know if Dreams is an E3 show this year. I think maybe that's a PlayStation Experience show, or PlayStation Experience game, right? They have more time to get people hands-on with it, and they have more time to talk about their exclusive titles. But it does seem like it should at least have some kind of presence in this list. And the other one, Fallout 3, yeah, obviously, like, we'd all be super excited about that, or Fallout VR, regardless of which Fallout it is. But that's definitely going to happen on Bethesda's stage, I think, right? I don't know. There should be a mention of it somewhere here, right? Even if we've already seen it. I don't know. This is going to be a very exciting year. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have tons of speculation, tons of opinions, but nothing concrete. So trust me when I say that when you guys are watching E3, I'm going to be watching E3 the exact same time as you, and I'm going to be just as excited. And then I can't wait to celebrate with you in the only way we know how, which is probably breaking news reports and whatever else we got. So that's it for another episode of the Litter Box. I cannot wait, man. This is the most exciting time of the year, and I'm just so happy I can celebrate it with you guys. All right, that's it. I got more work to do, so I will talk to you guys soon. And thank you again for all of your support. I love you all.